Thank you, Craig. A reward fund has been started for the return of a stolen piece of history in Elmira. According to our media partner, the Star-Gazette, Elmira's Mayor Sue Skidmore and a few council members are pitching in for the Mark Twain plaque to be returned to Woodlawn Cemetery. The bronze plaque was reported stolen on Friday and was created by Mark Twain's daughter in 1937. Since the city and the police department are not offering rewards, Skidmore says she wants to personally. If you have any information about the plaque, call the Elmira Police Department. A decision on whether to raise or eliminate the minimum wage paid to servers and other tipped workers in New York could come very soon. A state board reviewing the so-called tip wage will meet Thursday. The board is excited to soon issue the recommendation to the state's labor commissioner, who has the authority to eliminate the wage. The wage is about $5 per hour for most tipped workers. State law allows restaurants, hotels, and other employees to pay servers, busboys, and housekeepers less than the state's $8.75 minimum wage, as long as their tips make up the difference. Labor advocates say the tipped wage is unfair and that all workers should be covered by the state's minimum wage rules. An attempt to stop gas and oil drilling on public land in Pennsylvania has been turned down. The Commonwealth Court rejected a 2012 lawsuit by the Pennsylvania Environmental Defense Foundation. The foundation wanted to stop drilling in state parks and forests. The court says the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources has authority over leasing decisions. Officials from Governor Tom Corbett's administration say the ruling is a win for the state government. We have an update to the Danby standoff. The Tompkins County Sheriff's Office has released their initial investigation report regarding the incident. Yesterday, WENY News spoke with the wife of David Caddy, the man who was found dead during the standoff. WENY's Landa Rosa brings us the story.
My husband told me that he was not coming out of there alive. He told me that. I can't make decisions for him. Bottom line, I don't blame any of them for him passing. None of them. He made that decision.
And Melissa Cady said law enforcement made theirs. It all started the evening of December 30th when an officer showed up at her door to serve her husband an arrest warrant related to a DWI. The fear of going to jail had David Cady reaching for one of his hunting guns.
I grabbed each kid by the hand and I looked up at my husband and I said, "We didn't sign up for this." And he said, "No, you didn't." And he kissed me and we walked out of that house. We were never held hostage. Never.
From there, nearly 20 different law enforcement agencies arrived on scene. Melissa says David fired one shot into the air. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office says it was aimed at patrol cars. Tensions grew, and Melissa spoke with her husband one last time at 4:16 Wednesday morning. She says she knew after that phone call it was the end for him.
He said, "Missy, are you going to be on the other side of that door to take my hand?" And I said, "No, honey, they won't let me." And he said, "Then no, honey, I can't come out." He said, "Missy, I've always loved you." And he hung up. And that was the last phone conversation that anyone had with him. Anyone.
After that, Melissa says she heard another gunshot and believed that's when David took his life. But for law enforcement, their tactics would still escalate.
I gave them everything they needed to get into that home safely.
And to get him out.
To get him out safely. And all they did is took what I gave them and destroyed my home.
Melissa says they used flashbangs and she found at least 67 canisters of tear gas. She says if David was still alive at that point, he would have been incapacitated, allowing for police to take him into custody. We spoke with Sheriff Lansing, and he says the agencies picked their practices based on what's best for everyone's safety. But those practices left the Cady home in pieces as a neighbor watched it all go down.
He watched them come through my side yard and come right out the other side of my bathroom.
Just drove right through.
Just drove straight through it.
Now the Cady's home looks like a tornado destroyed it. Melissa says officers kept her in the loop, But what she found was worse than she ever expected.
I felt betrayed. I felt lied to. To be honest with you, that's what I felt.
Melissa and her family and friends agree that they support the police, and we're all for keeping them safe too. But now that it's over, her family is left without a father and husband and without a home, and she questions whether such extreme measures were necessary.
Bottom line, I don't hate the police. I don't. I just hate what they've done. I'm disgusted with what they've done. And something needs to be stopped. No one else should ever have to do what I'm doing right now.
This week, a handful of people addressed the Tompkins County legislature to express their concerns, saying they want more information about law enforcement's actions. Public Safety Committee Vice Chair Jim Dennis also asked the Sheriff's Office to provide a recap of the incident at the January 12th Public Safety Committee meeting. It's now the first year the Affordable Care Act is directly affecting how you file your taxes. WENY Samantha Potter met with an accountant at H&R Block to find out what taxpayers should look out for when filing their taxes this year.
Well, many people may not know the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is not just a health law, but a tax law as well. The Affordable Health Act says most Americans must carry health insurance or they'll pay a fine. Well, that fine will show up on your tax return. When filing your taxes, a new line will be added asking if you have health insurance, yes or no. If you don't have health insurance, the fine will show up as part of your tax bill.
For the average person, the penalty could be $95 per adult member in the household, $47.50 for children under 18, or it could be up to 1% of the total household income.
If you do have an insurance plan under Obamacare, how you file your taxes will also be impacted. If your plan is subsidized, you could all see an impact on your tax return, either by getting less back than you expected or even having to owe. Tomorrow from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, all H&R Block locations will have specialists available to answer to questions on how your refund may be impacted by the Affordable Care Act. No appointment is necessary and it's completely free. In the studio, Samantha Potter, WENY News.
Now let's take a look at some of the stories you can find in today's Star Gazette. Tom Reed explains the Boehner vote, the Salvation Army campaign beat goal in Steuben County, and CASA to hold an annual Zumbathon on January 24th. And as always, don't forget to check out Craig's 5-degree guarantee. It's 6:09, and when we come back, 2015 could be the year of the smart car as gadgets and electronics make your commute easier. Stay tuned for that story and more in What's Trending. Plus, Craig Flint has your first warning weather forecast after the break. This is a first look outside at our Crystal City Skycam in Centerway Square. Good morning, Corning. Good morning, Twin Tiers. You're watching WENY News. We'll be right back.